Hi, my name is Ethan, and in this video we're going to be talking about time complexity. So we'll be discussing what is time complexity and how you can find the time complexity of any algorithm. So in this video we'll be using linear search as our algorithm because it's fairly straightforward and simple. So we'll just start talking about what is time complexity first. Time complexity is essentially how long is an algorithm going to take to run for any given input. So for linear search, you're searching through an array. So we want to find out how long is this specific algorithm going to take on any length of any array, right? And this is important because when you're in programming, there's a lot of different solutions for a problem that you might be given, but you want to figure out which solution is best. So we use criteria like, finding the time complexity in order to determine which solution you should go with. So this is our example. We have an array called R, and it has these integer values. And our problem is that we want to find a certain value. So this variable t is going to represent our target value that we're looking for. We'll say it's equal to 4. So t equals 4. We're looking for the value 4 in this array. How do we do that? We use linear search. And in linear search, what it does is we start at the first value, and we keep checking if this value is equal to our target. So if it isn't, we move to the next one, and we keep checking until we reach our target. We see 4 equals 4, and so we return the index, which in this case would be 3. So linear search is very simple and easy. You just start at the first one, and you keep going and checking until you get your target rate. This is the pseudocode. So just to go through it really quick, for each ix in the range length of R, what does this mean? For each I, this is going to be our index. So here it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is our i's. And then x is going to be our actual values. So 5, 3, 1, 4, 2. Those are our x's. And so for each index and value pair in the range of the length of R, so in this case it's 5. So we're going through 5 iterations essentially. So for ix in range length R, if x equals t, return I. What does this mean? If our given value, so starting at 5, if this equals our target, which is 4, we'll return the index, right? So here that's not true, so we go back to our loop and we go again. 3, does 3 equal 4? No, we keep going, 4. Does 4 equal 4? Yes, so we return this index. And then return none just means if our target variable isn't in the array, we just want to return none, which in Python is it's like null. So now that we kind of have a better understanding of what a linear search algorithm is, how do we find the time complexity of it? Well, some key things that you want to find in your algorithm, for any algorithm, when you're finding time complexity, is you want to find your loop. So here's our loop. This is what's repeating over and over in our algorithm. This is where the most computation is taking place. So here's our loop, and we want to find out how long does this loop go for? How many iterations do we have? In this case, it's 5. But this input, this array can change in size. So we want to standardize it, like what is always going to be the number of times this algorithm runs for? It's always going to be determined by the length of this array. So we'll say that the length of any input array is equal to n. So the length of any array equals n. So in this case it's 5, but it could be any number. So we know that this algorithm is always going to run n times, no matter the length. The length is n, right? Now we want to find our basic operation. So what operation is being performed every time this loop runs? It's this right here. If x equals t. This is happening for each iteration in our loop. So this is our basic operation. So now that we find our basic operation and we know that it runs one time for each time this loop runs, we can find the time complexity. So what's the worst case scenario? That's what the main thing that we're looking for when we're finding the time complexity of an algorithm. What's the worst case scenario? What is the worst thing that could happen? Well, we want to find what target is going to maximize the number of times this iteration runs. It's going to be if it's the last one, right? Because if it's the last one, we're running it the maximum amount of times. So in this case, time complexity would be big O and the length of the array.